This is NDTV, and you're watching Classics.
Hello and welcome on board a journey like never before, presented by Fly Kingfisher. This is where we meet India's young icons, India's path breakers who have redefined their genre of work, be it business, sports, politics or entertainment. On this show, you will experience them like never before. Our guest today is a very special woman, a woman who dared and has become a role model for many. She has been through failures, but despite that has succeeded. She has faced many obstacles in her journey, but she never gave up. Her journey has set an example for other Indian women to follow. She's a recipient of several prestigious awards, including the Padma Shree and the Padma Bhushan. In 2004, she became India's richest woman. She's been termed as India's Biotech Queen, also India's mother of invention. Welcome very successful woman entrepreneur, chairman and managing director of Biocon Limited, Dr. Kiran Mazumdar Shaw. Thank you so much, Kiran, for joining us on this very special show, and welcome on board the journey like never before.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
There's one thing that strikes me about you, Kiran, is that you've been extremely bold in your business decisions. You've done things in a path-breaking way.
Well, I guess, I've always been someone who's been very challenged in terms of, my sense of purpose. I've always wanted to do things with a sense of daring. I've always gone about my business with a very deep sense of wanting to be different. So differentiation has been a big strategy of mine. So I guess it's something which is very ingrained in my own personality, I guess.
But also what's very fascinating about your journey is that you say in many of your interviews that Biocon happened just by chance. It was an accident.
Yeah, I do call myself an accidental entrepreneur because I don't think I ever dreamed I would be sort of running a business of the size of Biocon. I think I was a very career-oriented person. I've always wanted to pursue a career, but never really thought about being an entrepreneur.
When you started off, you were extremely young, weren't you? And in fact, at that time, you didn't have much money, you didn't have resources, you started off from a garage, and many thought that that was a very foolish decision on your part.
Yeah, I mean, I was 25 when I started Biocon, and of course, when I look back on how I started Biocon, I'm quite surprised at some of the daring decisions I took at that time. But I guess it was a sense of challenge again. I have this spirit of challenge, and I guess I thought I had to prove myself because, I did feel very let down when I couldn't pursue my career path as a brewmaster. So I guess that was the kind of challenge I took on to prove to the world that I could be a good manager, that I could, manage a responsibility. I could take on a responsibility and manage that particular responsibility very well.
So Kiran, tell us how did Biocon come about? You founded Biocon in, I think, 1978 with about 10,000 rupees in your pocket. You were working out of a garage, like I mentioned, and those must have been very difficult times. How did you manage? Your bank loans were getting rejected. How did you manage?
When you sort of take on something with a spirit of challenge, all these obstacles become very interesting to overcome. And every obstacle that you overcome gives you a sort of an added confidence to take on the next obstacle.
Sure.
So I really never thought that they were unsurmountable.
You talked about your milestones that you crossed, but that was only after several failures, and I think it's only dealing with the failure, the kind of experience that you get keeps you going.
Yeah, I've always believed that I think a lot of me and my sort of confidence comes from failures, because I think I've learned to learn from my failures and get the confidence to move on. And of course, I'm also a big risk taker. So I think my ability to understand and manage risk has also been part of my strength.
So, Kiran, all these qualities in you, I mean, was this something that your family played a very important role, because the way you've been brought up, you've grown up to be a fine human being. The credit goes to your family, perhaps?
Well, my father and my mother certainly have played a tremendous role in giving me the support that I needed. I think they've never made me feel wanting in being a girl child. And of course, my brothers have been a tremendous support system for me as well. So I guess family always plays a very important role.
Tell us something about your childhood. I mean, how was it like growing up? Your parents were pretty liberal, weren't they? And quite broad-minded.
Well, I had a wonderful, happy childhood. In fact, I had a very charmed childhood because we grew up in a sort of a gated community. My father was the managing director of United Breweries. He worked for Dr. Malia's father.
And you followed in his footsteps.
And I tried to follow in his footsteps. And of course, as children, we had a wonderful life, you know. So, you know, it's just that I guess I had a very solid, stable childhood.
Was there any time in your life where you felt extremely low, when you felt that, you know, it's not going to happen for me?
Obviously, in any entrepreneur's, you know, sort of life, there are always going to be lows and highs. And at, you know, during those lows, you always feel that, you know, it is very challenging, and I wonder when I'm going to get out of this phase, you know. So
when I feel low, I probably turn to my parents. When you're feeling low, who do you turn to? Who do you just want to talk to?
Well, you know, before I got married, I used to kind of, you know, really sort of use my friends as my sounding board. I used to use my family as my sounding board. Today, of course, my husband takes the brunt of all these things. But of course, my colleagues have also been a tremendous support system. I mean, today when we go through, you know, sort of low times, I think we as a group, as a, you know, core group, I think we certainly get together and see how we can come out of situations.
The real growth came when you married Mr. Shaw, your husband. He has played a very important role in your life.
Yes, I think, you know, he gave me all the kind of support that I needed to really go places. Yeah. You know, I could sort of, he brought in a lot of professional thinking into the way I built Biocon, because up until then I was a very successful entrepreneur, but I think my husband John brought in sort of a perspective of strategic thinking, strategic vision, and he actually gave me the confidence to go and list Biocon.
Well, Kiran, we have a surprise for you. Your husband is now going to join us on the show. Mr. John Shaw joins us on a journey like never before. Thank you very much, Mr. Shaw, for joining us. Well, we have Kiran sitting with me in the studio. She's going to be listening to all that you have to say about her. You married Kiran in 1998. That's when you also joined Biocon. How has your journey with Kiran been?
Right. Well, obviously on the business side, the first big excitement was our IPO, going public with the company, and then there have been a series of excitements then as we have rolled out our discovery and innovation program, which is making excellent strides and making much better and faster strides than I ever thought possible when I joined the company. That's the business side. The personal side has been one of great pleasure as I have discovered exactly all the facets of Kiran's personalities. She is, as you can imagine, she is a fascinating lady, a lady of great determination, of at times lightning speed of mind, which leads me trailing in the wake. She has very great scientific abilities, which match my own, because I have really no scientific talents at all, but I have certain talents on the financial and the strategic side. So hopefully we blend together well as a team.
Lightning speed of mind and a fascinating lady, that's what he has to say about you.
Well, but he also has given me that strategic way of thinking.
You know, you've been termed India's Biotech Queen, a mother of invention. Which one works for you better? Which one do you like to be?
I want to be known for innovation. So I think I'd really like to, you know, see India forge ahead as an innovator rather than just as an imitator.